I love printing. I love printing. I love it. I love printing. Hey everybody, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Printer to Printer with me, Warren Werbitt, also known as the Print Whisperer. And today we have a good friend on for the second time, Ranasinha. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
I've been practicing all night to get it right, but not really.
Not really. You did a good job.
Thank you. So welcome back.
It's great to be here.
Are you telling the truth?
No, I'm not. I'm lying through my teeth. I'm a marketer. What do you expect?
I expected lies. So right. Great. What a great way to get off on this episode today.
I'm not one to disappoint in that case.
Nah, you can never disappoint. So today I wanted to talk about risk. Basically, you had posted a video on LinkedIn about risk and about how business owners take chances, they get somewhere, and when they get somewhere, they kind of stay there because they can't take or they don't have it in them to take on more risk.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. So, okay, we're done.
That's it. The show's over.
Yeah. I'd like to thank. No. Yeah. So, I did a thing on LinkedIn a while back about risk, and it was about successful. The thing is, when you get a bit of success in business, you start becoming risk averse, right? Because you've got more to lose, right? But the problem with getting risk averse is that that's what got you in business in the first place. What brought you to the level of your business that you're in today is because you took risks in some way, shape, or form. And just like, as we all know, what got you here won't get you there. By being risk averse now, once you've got to that point in your business life, not only are you mitigating possible loss by not taking that risk, but you're also ignoring, the other side of that coin is that you're missing opportunities of possible gain by not taking that risk. And that risk could be anything. I mean, it could be services, it could be staffing, it could be pivoting your ideal customer profile, going after a different market. It could be anything. But people just I think people, not just business owners, people, they get complacent, right? Because, being on that knife edge, being out there is a dangerous, risky place to be.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, the reason I asked you to come on and what I thought we should talk about it is when I watched your video, which by the way, all your videos are great because they're short.
Yes.
But when I watched the video, it brought me back to when I started in business, because the first 15 years, maybe even 20 of my 27 in business, because I did all kinds of craziness. And I remember my attitude back then was, because I started the business with nothing, literally like just a desk, a chair, and my brother and a press operator, my attitude and part of my selling always was, I take all chances, nothing matters. You can't take anything away from me because I had nothing when I started. And then I remember when I got to a certain point and I had a little bit, my risk taking was weaning off a little. And I was actually, I was actually aware of it. And I even had frustration with myself because I didn't have that oomph for everything anymore. And then I'm thinking to what you just said before about when you stop taking those chances, you basically put your business at risk.
Yeah, and by that, I'm not saying just, go hell for leather at anything and everything. I mean, it needs to be a coordinated and deliberated decision, of course. I mean, I had the same thing with my business. At the beginning, positioning my agency and projecting that agency to clients, I was playing it safe in terms of the visual communication, the copywriting, how I was talking about the company, how I was talking as an individual, as a representative of the company. And it was, it was in that sort of middle ground. And it was only at a certain point when I thought, do I just want to be a small fish in a huge pond of other small and much bigger fish, or do I just go hell for leather and actually differentiate our agency in terms of the way that we talk about how we help clients and how we're different, and not just saying how we're different, but actually demonstrating that tangibly. And it was after that, and it was almost like not like I didn't care, but it was like, well, if you sit on the fence, you're going to get splinters in your tushy, right? So just get off and do it. And I did, and seriously, within about 3 months, I mean, the business change was substantial, unbelievable change. And that was a risk that I took. But, at the end of the day, that's quite a small risk. In terms of a printing company, it could be, you could be talking about millions of dollars of risk.
Yeah, well, you don't even have to talk. You don't even have to talk about millions, because I remember it's kind of like it was so long ago, but over the pandemic, we were having all these Zoom calls, and all these groups were getting together, and people were talking and ideas and whatnot. And I remember there was a few people on a bunch of calls for the longest time would just ask a lot of questions and ask a lot of questions. And I remember saying to one person after a while, I go, "What have you done in the last year? You've spoken with everyone about what opportunities or what options or what to look at." And that person had done nothing other than continue to talk and ask more questions, right? So they kind of got stuck. They got stuck on that treadmill.
Well, it's a difference between a business person and an entrepreneur, isn't it? Okay.
Correct.
A business person can run a business, probably very competently, but an entrepreneur is there to
build the business.
It's to look further forward, right? It's to be able to have the guts to take a step off that cliff, right? To jump into the abyss and see what's down there. And that's not for everyone. But if you are a business person, recognize you're a business person, and then get somebody into your business who can be that entrepreneurial spirit to look at new opportunities, new avenues, and you won't hit the target each time. There will be, you will miss the target many times, but you only need one good one to hit before you find that seam, and then off you go again, because that's how you got into your business in the first place. Guarantee you, pretty much every printer out there started off thinking their business was going to be this, and then they had to tweak the dials along as they went until they finally zeroed in on where their where their ideal customer profile was, what that target market was like, what the product offering was like, how to best articulate what they're doing, how they're serving the customer, all the rest of it. And once they found that seam, off they did, and they ran with it, right? So the question is now, what gets you to the next level, the next stepping stone? Because it's certainly not going to be what got you here up until now.
Well, if we're talking about print, my first thought is to anyone who's listening, you need to be going to all the shows. If you feel like you're stuck somewhere and you don't know what to do, or you're nervous about risk or taking a chance, go to the shows, see what's going on. You could educate yourself today. Let me say that over. It's so much easier to educate yourself today with the tools that we have, right? That you can mitigate some of that risk and not worry with the information out there. But you got to start somewhere.
I think it depends what you mean by shows.
Well, when I say shows, I'm talking within print. Anywhere where there's a mass of people getting together,
people.
Right?
That's what I was alluding to, right? Because the value of a show now is not going to a huge hall and seeing big pieces of iron.
No, right. I reference show every time I say show. And I talk print, it's about industry. It's about people within the industry getting together, where people are talking, listening, introducing new stuff, talking old.
Yeah, because that's what I was trying to get to. Because the value of a trade show, of a conference, of that kind of event is the content is one thing. If we call a trade show content by seeing, the Okikoki 2000 from such a manufacturer is bigger, better, faster, higher resolution, whatever it is. Yeah, okay, great, yawn, let's move on, right? The value is in the networking that you can do, which can't really be replicated virtually, not very well. It's not very elegant. And, the real benefit of user groups or trade shows, conferences, all of those sorts of things are the people you meet and listening to them either giving their pitch, their talk at the time,
Their
or
story,
speaking
whatever.
to them in the coffee breaks, or dare I say it, with a short lemonade that you may have after hours, you know, and finding that stuff out, because that's where the ideas come from peers more than from
Oh,
manufacturers.
listen, the worst thing anybody could
Manufacturers don't know
do,
any of it.
the worst thing anyone could do is stay in their office all day and not go out and see people or not go and introduce themselves to new things going on. Right. I remember going to some shows or standing in line even at the concession counter to get some food, and you start talking to a guy, girl, front or back, and all of a sudden you're exchanging business cards, and the next thing you know, you're talking on the phone,
And then you're
and you're
escorted out of the building.
sorry.
And then you're escorted out of the building for annoying
Correct.
people. Right. Right.
Correct. But that's where some of the craziest shit comes up,
Absolutely. Sure.
where you don't know, and the next thing you know, you're talking, and ideas are coming, and new friends are coming, and then you're building on something.
I mean, it used to be said, like, it's like an old golden rule in sales or business development, right? That 20% of your time needed to be spent on finding new business, right? And I think, you should look at a similar sort of percentage in looking not just for new customers in terms of new business, but new opportunities in terms of new business, right? Now, that may be customers because it might be looking at a different type of market, or maybe a different type of category. It may be the same thing. But how many people, how many business owners do that?
Not many.
No. And you can quite clearly see the businesses that do, because these are the ones who are leading their category today.
Well, it's
Because
funny you
again,
asked. It's funny you asked that question, because even if we talk about marketing, which is your specialty, working with some companies, if ownership is not taking it at the top and putting down the messaging that they want to put out there, it doesn't happen, because it's all about the lead. Everything comes back to leadership.
if you can't get true, authentic buy-in from the very, very top about why marketing is important in your business, you're wasting your money getting anybody in, either in-house or an external, to put your marketing in, because it's not going to stick. Okay, unless there's a total buy-in from everyone, and that's from the very, very top down, it's never going to work. You're just wasting your time. And I think that's representative of the type of people who get employed in marketing today. Dare I say it, especially at printing companies. Not all printing companies, okay, because there are exceptions to every rule, but too many people are putting in inexperienced, uneducated people in senior marketing positions who are not doing marketing. All they're doing is a sales support function, and they're not doing real marketing.
Or post
And
on
it
social
shows.
media.
Right, exactly. Which is a
Part
tenth
of.
of a tenth of a tenth
Correct.
of what marketing actually is, right? But they're not allowed to do all the rest of it. And I think there's two reasons for that. Number one, I think the higher echelons of business have an inherent distrust in marketing because they don't understand how it works. No, they're not that they don't understand how it works. They don't like the fact that it works, because there is
No,
some
I
part.
like the fact that you said they don't understand, because I don't really believe they understand. Because if they understood, then they would be doing more of it, because marketing is what keeps the marketing done right is what keeps you in front of your customer and potential customers.
But then, look, and again, sweeping generalization, right? You look at many printing companies out there, they've got to the place that they are business wise, revenue wise, quite often without any marketing support, right?
Correct.
They were probably working at another printing company, left, started to do their own thing, found some clients, poached some clients, whatever, got off the ground. And in the old days, word of mouth was enough. All you had to do was buy a bit of kit, put an open sign on the front door, and you would make money as a printing company. Okay,
Right.
slight exaggeration, but you get the point,
No,
right?
actually, the good old days were that.
The good old days,
There
right?
was no exaggeration.
So the thing is, like I said, what got you here won't get you there. The point is, they've got to the point where now things are a lot different. That Rolodex, because it was in those days a physical Rolodex, is sadly empty. Those contacts have been replaced by younger people who are maybe got a different set of priorities in terms of how they're running their businesses and how they're looking at print service providers. And so you can't just rely on the relationships that you've built up, and you actually have to do real marketing. And this is where they've come to a hit, because they say, well, why do I need to spend X on marketing? Because I've run all my business all this time without it. And it's the reason is you've succeeded in spite of not having marketing, not because you did.
The real reason is times have changed.
Everything's changed, right?
Right.
Everything's changed. That whole environment has changed. So the reason why business owners don't put, not all business owners, again, sorry for the...
Yeah, we talk in general.
Right? Why they put people in charge of marketing who are less than qualified, less than experienced on the basics of marketing. Forget the tactical stuff. That's the easy bit. But the actual basic stuff, the diagnosis, the discovery, the positioning, the segmentation, the market orientation, all of that good stuff that you need to do well before you start opening up Photoshop or Canva or any of that stuff, right? Well before all of that stuff. Doing the basics right. None of these people know how to do it because they've never had to do it. And in terms of the business owner, they remember back when they were an employee at a previous company, the only physical output they ever saw from somebody who had marketing in their title was, what do you think of this tote bag for the next trade show? Or what about a squishy ball that we take to our user conference? That's what they saw marketing as being. They never saw, the 9/10 under the water of the iceberg. They never saw that. And it's not their fault, because how would you know that, right? I mean, I don't pretend to know anything about finance, but I'm sure CFOs do a ton of background work before they present a report at a boardroom meeting, right? But there's loads of stuff that's happening that I don't even know about. And it's the same thing. So number one, you have an inherent distrust in marketing because it can't be systemized, right? There's a gray area in certain of these processes because of the variability and the fickleness of human behavior and how it's influenced by non-rational stimuli in terms of context. Okay, I don't want to go too far down that road, but like for instance, placebos. Okay, in the medical industry. Okay, now we all know placebos work, right? But doctors don't like the fact that they work.
Right.
They don't like the fact. And have you noticed that when they test a drug, they test it against a placebo to give the difference, but they never test it against the drug, the placebo, and nothing. Or a placebo where you're told it's a placebo.
Right.
Because the drug is this much better than a placebo? Great. Well, how much better is a placebo against knowing that it's a placebo? We don't know. Right? All of this has an effect on buying decisions. And that sort of woolliness...
They're done in a way that they're skewed a little.
A little bit. Well, it's a point of view. But the point is that logical... the sequential logical process that you have in finance, in manufacturing, in pretty much every other business discipline isn't as well thought out or as clearly delineated in marketing as it is in certain other areas. Okay, so that's number one. And number two is, like I said, I think it's that they don't understand what marketing is and where marketing fits within the value creation process of that business. They think it's something that you do right at the end to make it look good, right? That's why, quite often marketers are called the coloring in department, right?
Paint by numbers.
Yeah, we just put it at the end, okay, what do marketing guys do? Oh, well, they make the PowerPoint deck look nice, well.
Yeah, no, like to me, the marketing, it's just always been, allowing you to have a constant communication and messaging going out, so that there's a flow.
Marketing, right? Summarize, because you can, expound and theorize about this all day. Okay, marketing is giving the voice of the customer to the business. It's an input of the customer's voice to the business. Marketing's job is to give that customer voice at those business gatherings. so that everything is aligned to the customer's viewpoint. Surely, right? 50% of people with marketing in their job title, I won't call them marketers, but people with marketing in their job title, haven't spoken to a customer in the past 3 months. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, it's like people that have sales and marketing as their title.
Well, you can't have both. You could be sales or you could be marketing.
Right. Otherwise, you're fighting with yourself all the time.
Right.
Wow. Anyway, you know what? There's a conversation that can go on and on, but I think the whole idea of like, being stuck by risk is pretty crazy. I think people have to be a little bit more aware of it or listen to this so that they could actually think about what they're doing and maybe make some pivotal changes to keep things moving. Because it happens quick when you stop doing what you're doing or being successful at what you're doing. The downward slope comes fast. It's like a mudslide, right?
Well, you have to change, otherwise you'll be reacting to the market.
Well,
changing.
you wake up and that's right. You wake up and that's what you're doing, and you never get ahead when you're reactive. Or react, you got to be proactive as opposed to reactive.
You're always playing catch up. Absolutely.
Wow. Cool. Wow. This can go on and on and on. I hope for people that listened, had some value. Leave me some comments. Let me know if there's anything else that you're thinking about that you'd like to talk about. I don't only have to talk to printers. We could talk to other people who give us ideas on the print side. G, always great to have you on. I appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed myself immensely. It was a wonderful experience.
If you enjoyed yourself immensely, my day was made then. I don't ask for much more, right? It's only small things in life.
Absolutely. Easy.
Great. So everybody else, I thank you for watching. Do look forward to the next episode of Printer to Printer. And everybody, it's Warren Werbitt for What They Think, and I Love Print.